A staircase took me to a place that wasn't part of our building. Still haunts me. I'm 22 now, but this incident has stayed with me so clearly that I remember it better than most things in my life. This happened when I was around 17. I wasn't intoxicated or dreaming. I was completely aware and conscious during the whole event. I had gone to visit my aunt's house with my mom. She lives in an old government apartment building, the kind that has 5 to 6 floors with identical and old concrete walls and staircases. Her flat was on the 3rd floor. At one point, I decided to go downstairs to watch newborn puppies. After watching them when I started climbing back up, I remember passing floor after floor, but nothing looked familiar. There were no markings or floor numbers, even no apartment gates. Just the same repeating walls and stairs. It felt like I had climbed a lot more than just 3 floors. And then, suddenly, I reached the top of the staircase and everything changed. Instead of the usual floor and doors, I saw what looked like a school corridor, not the school corridor we have in Indian high schools. A long hallway, lined with lockers, just like the ones you see in American high school movies. It was brightly lit and completely unfamiliar. And there were kids inside who felt like they were not Indian, going about like it was totally normal. I just stood there on the staircase, shocked, staring, wondering what are these kids doing here and why this old building has something that looks so clean and good. I remember very clearly a young black girl looked at me from inside the corridor and waved or said hi. She smiled like I was supposed to be there. I didn't respond. I was frozen. Then I slowly turned around and walked back down the stairs. As I climbed down, the same old staircase returned, the usual old walls and layout. And as soon as I passed one more level down, I was suddenly at the familiar 3rd floor again. Everything was normal. Out of confusion, I went back up again, and this time it was just the 4th floor apartment. No corridor, no lockers, no students, no black girl that waved at me. I even asked my aunt later if there was any school nearby or if the building had any sort of renovated section. She had no idea what I was talking about and said there was nothing like that. She assumed I was daydreaming, but I know I wasn't. This wasn't a dream. It felt way too real. The lighting, the walls, the girl, the way she noticed me, all of it was vivid. I still remember every detail. I've had dreams. I've had hallucinations. This was not one of them. This felt like I slipped into another version of reality for a few minutes. I have no explanation for it. But it happened, and I haven't forgotten it ever since. Didn't had courage to discuss this with someone before they declare me crazy. Was this a time slip, a dimension bleed, a liminal space event, or something else?
I'm convinced we died 3 years ago. My best friend and I are currently spiraling because an event we survived together has somehow been rewritten. For reference, we don't drink or do drugs. We are 22 now, but when we were 19, we went on a trip to a rural coastal area in Greece. We've discussed this specific day a million times over the last 3 years, and our memories of it are identical down to the smallest detail. Yet now, everything seems to insist it happened differently. We were staying at a hotel in the middle of nowhere and decided to hike 2 hours along the coast to a restaurant on a remote cape. My friend was all dressed up in platform heels, a long pink skirt, and a white top. Remember this. As we walked into the restaurant, we noticed a group of men all turned their heads toward us. This happened to us on a daily basis since we are conventionally attractive, so we didn't really bat an eye. However, throughout the whole lunch, they kept looking at us and talking to each other, and we couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. There were only 2 other couples there, so it felt very pointed. As we left the restaurant, those men got up and followed us out immediately. In front of the restaurant, there were rocks leading into the sea and a few cars parked outside. We decided to take some photos on the rocks, but we saw the men starting to take photos of us. They were also constantly on their phones, talking to someone while pointing their cameras at us. It was an open area and there wasn't another soul around, so it was obvious. We got really weirded out, but we didn't have anyone to ask for help, and we came on the trip alone and didn't want to call and worry our parents, so we decided we should head back to the hotel. For context, I had been vlogging our whole trip so far and was filming everything. including this entire incident. As we started walking back toward our hotel, we were walking on the rocks that ran parallel to a rural quiet road, noticed that the men got in their car and were slowly driving behind us. After about 7 minutes, the rocks finished and the coastline hit a wall where the water met the land. The road we had been following went into a very thick, bushy area. These men were still creeping after us in their car the whole time. We knew if we went down that road into the bushes, they would probably try to kidnap us. To avoid the road, we decided to walk through the water to get to the next headland. The tide was quite high, over our knees, and I remember filming the whole thing, us walking through the water with my friend in her platform heels and long skirt getting soaked. We kept looking back at the men who had stopped the car opposite where we entered the water. They actually got out of the car and were just standing there watching us walk through the sea. We eventually made it to the other side and sat on a bench, watching them watch us until they finally drove off. The reason we are freaking out is that I recently went to find the footage for a birthday post for my friend. I wanted to make an edit of our iconic moments, and I saw that the footage has completely changed. In the footage of us taking photos by the sea, where it was definitely just us and those men, there are suddenly random women in bikinis right next to us who were never there. Most importantly, the footage of us in the water is now somehow time-stamped on a completely different day, and we are wearing different clothes, which means going to that restaurant and walking through the water has happened on different days. To add to that, the men and their car are nowhere to be seen. I watched the 20 minutes of us in the water, and I never once mentioned the car or panned the camera toward them. It just looks like we're randomly walking through deep water for no reason. We both are 100% sure we filmed those men while we were walking through the water. We talked about them in the video and afterwards for the vlog. Even weirder, I called a close friend who wasn't on the trip, but who we have told this story to countless times, and he told me he's never heard it in his life. He was genuinely surprised why we wouldn't have mentioned something so crazy. My friend and I both have the exact same memory of us was walking through water, and because those men from the restaurant were after us. She thinks we experienced quantum immortality, that maybe in the original timeline something bad happened and our consciousness jumped to this version of reality. I wish this was a telephone glitch, but the fact that we are wearing different clothes in those two videos just signify that it is not. I've reset my phone numerous times and it doesn't go back. Also, I watched the videos numerous times in the last 2 years, and they were always the same as we remembered. It's like our memories exist in a world that doesn't match the physical facts anymore. Has anyone else ever experienced a shift like this? I'm wondering, what else might not line up in this reality? That makes me think that we died together at some point, perhaps then, perhaps a bit later.
My girlfriend came home, except she didn't. So my girlfriend works 5-hour shifts at an aged care place, 7 to 12 p.m. today, and today she texted me to say she was doing a double shift, which was honestly fair enough. I was sitting at my computer eating lunch in the office in my house at around 12:15 when I suddenly hear the office door open. I jump and turn around to see my girlfriend standing in the doorway. She made this short little "ah" cry as if to sarcastically scare me. It was something she usually did to be funny, then went off to the bedroom, presumably to get changed. I turned back to my computer to finish lunch and just sort of hung out there waiting for her to reappear, but she didn't. I figured she was in the bedroom still, but the door was open and the room was empty. I walked through the house and there was no sign of her. I figured she might just be using the bathroom or something, so I thought nothing of it. Another 10 or so minutes pass and still no sound from any doors or anything. I check the house again and she is nowhere to be seen. I check outside and her car is not outside, so I figured she went back to work for that double shift. I text her asking if she was doing a double shift and she said yes. I said it was kinda weird to come home and then leave immediately after, as she never did that when working a double. She texted back dead confused about what I was talking about. I said that she came home and surprised me. She stated that she had been at work all day. She swore up and down that she never came home. My girlfriend takes her work very seriously. With her travel time, she wouldn't have had time to come home and then go back to work before her second shift. So now Im left, wondering if a doppelganger opened my office door and surprised me, or if I'm just going crazy.